Dylan?
Yeah, just a few days ago, at the end of last week, the Senate Health Committee released a new report on the origins of COVID and the pandemic. They stated that they believed that it was most likely the pandemic came via an accident at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But notably, they said they couldn't tell for sure. We may never know for sure because China is continually obstructing investigations into this question. We've now had in this case, a U.S. government body, numerous NGOs, international bodies that have all said China is preventing us from getting the answer to this question. So are there going to be any consequences diplomatically at this point for China's continued obstruction into this question, now that even U.S. senators are saying that they're keeping us from getting to the bottom of this?
Certainly. So I think you're referring to an article that solely cited a report that was produced by the Minority Committee. The intelligence community in 2021, in August of 2021, released its own assessment. That assessment on COVID origins remains the U.S. government's most authoritative assessment to date. In short, and I don't want to paraphrase too much intelligence community analysis, but they made the point that intelligence agencies assessed two hypotheses as continuing to be plausible. That was natural exposure or some sort of lab-associated incident. To the best of my knowledge, that is where the intelligence community remains on the question of COVID origins. That report also noted that the IC and the global scientific community lacks clinical samples or a complete understanding of epidemiological data from the earliest COVID-19 cases. It went on to say that if we were to obtain information on the earliest cases that identified a location of interest or occupational exposure, it may alter the evaluation of hypotheses. So it is certainly true that cooperation from the PRC would help the world to understand the ultimate origins of COVID. This goes beyond the question of accountability. This goes to the very heart of how, as an international community, we can work together to prevent something like this from ever happening again. Only by fully understanding what happened in the case of the origins of COVID can we make sure that we are most effectively prepared to handle the next outbreak, epidemic, or God forbid, pandemic. So certainly we believe that global health is one of those areas where we do have intersecting interests with the PRC. Their cooperation in global health would be a boon not to the United States, but to the broader international community. It's something we continue to seek.
Right, but it's clear that they have at this point, not much intention of cooperating on that issue. So we could all imagine if there was suspicion that a global pandemic that killed millions of people originated in, let's say, Cleveland, Ohio, that all of the U.S. Adversaries and competitors, if the U.S. was obstructing investigation into what happened there, they would be pressuring and ratcheting up tensions to try to get the U.S. to cooperate. Is that not happening in this case?
Well, the PRC, like countries around the world, but certainly the PRC, given the restrictive measures, the so-called COVID-0 approach that they've taken, they're paying a steep cost. They're paying a steep price that has resulted from the COVID epidemic. It's in everyone's interest, it's including in the interest of the PRC, that they work with the international community, lend a degree of transparency to the international investigations into COVID origins, so that neither they nor we nor any country around the world should have to pay this kind of steep cost again. Yes, I see. Sure.